With episode 2 of The Mandalorian season 3 exploring the planet of Mandalore, and with the help of Bo-Katan explaining what actually happened to the Mandalorian people, it has become extremely clear to me that there is a very close connection between the Mandalorians and the Jedi.
What?
Now, some of these connections and similarities are obvious, and others you might not have seen, but stick around to the end of this video where I will explain why I think Grogu is the key to this whole thing that we call the Mandoverse. Because let's be honest, he is a Mandalorian and a Jedi. What's up, guys? It's Mike, a guy who loves Star Wars, and today we are talking about the Mandalorian and the Jedi, two of the great forces throughout the history of this galaxy far, far away. Now, with Bo-Katan explaining to Din and Grogu the destruction of Mandalore by the Empire, I realized that the similarities between these two, Mandalorian and Jedi, are insane. Their demise. First of all, you have to understand, the Jedi and the Mandalorians have been at odds many times with multiple wars in the not-so-distant past. But I wonder if all that fighting would have stopped if they found out that both of them were going to be destroyed by the same man named Sheev Palpatine.
I love democracy.
This huge similarity of them both being destroyed by the same man is no coincidence either. Of course, you know Palpatine's master plan in the prequel trilogy to destroy the Jedi, but he also knew that the Mandalorian people were a huge threat. And like Bo-Katan explains to us, the Mandalorian people's biggest downfall was fighting against each other. If they weren't at these constant civil wars all the time, then they might have been strong enough to fight against the Empire and maybe, just maybe, even destroy the Empire themselves. Palpatine, of course, knew about the Mandalorian, knew they were a very strong race of warriors, and knew they had to be taken out. Which, of course, brings us to the first connection on the list, which is the destruction of both the Mandalorian people and the Jedi by Sheev Palpatine himself. Civil wars. Also, in the same way that the Mandalorian clans have had long civil wars against each other for one reason or another, the Jedi have kind of been in a very long civil war themselves. For almost as long as they've been called the Jedi, because originally they were only Force users, and then when the dark side Force users, or Sith, split off, this is when this civil war began. With many Jedi, like Count Dooku and Anakin for example, going from the light side to the dark, from the Jedi to the Sith. Both of these powerhouses in the galaxy were at constant war with themselves, which is also why they were easily destroyed. Again, Bo-Katan explains it in episode 2. She believes that if they weren't fighting against each other, the Mandalorian people and Mandalore itself would still be around. Foundlings. Now, we know that Din Djarin and Grogu are both considered foundlings, and many other Mandalorian, like the kid we see at the beginning of episode 1 of The Mandalorian season 3, are foundlings. And again, very similar to the Jedi, who find Force-sensitive babies all around the galaxy and bring them in as their own. So if you want to get technical, all those Force users that the Jedi are bringing in are technically foundlings. However, there are exceptions to this. Not all Mandalorians are foundlings. Like Bo-Katan and Paz Vizsla, to name a few. These people are born into the Mandalorian way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
But not all Jedi are foundling either. Although it is against the rules to have romantic relationships as a Jedi, rules are made to be broken. Some examples of these non-foundling Jedi are, of course, Luke Skywalker and Leia Organa, and, an obvious one, Grogu. It's not been confirmed yet, but we can infer that Grogu is, of course, the offspring of Yoda and Yaddle, the only other two of this Yoda's species we've ever seen in Star Wars. So a little bit before the prequel trilogy, something happened off cameras with Yoda and Yaddle, and boom, there's Grogu. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's cool, the Mandalorian and the Jedi have some similarities, but why does that matter? Oh, I'm so glad you asked. All of these similarities, the civil wars, the foundlings, and their very similar demise, all lead to one being. This being, of course, being only the second Mandalorian Jedi after Tar Vizsla, the creator of the Darksaber, Grogu. Many people are arguing who's going to rule Mandalore, Bo, Din, Boba Fett? But what if none of that matters? What if it's all leading to Grogu leading Mandalore as the second Mandalorian Jedi? Now, obviously, I'm not talking about right now. He still is a baby, but he will live long past the sequel trilogy and will be the connection to everything. All of the Mandalorians and Jedi's civil wars, both of their destructions by Sheev Palpatine, all leading to one being by the name of Grogu, bringing both the Mandalorians and the Jedi back. But what do you think about all this? Do you think Grogu is the Jedi and Mandalorian that will bring back the Mandalorian people and the Jedi Order? Tell me in the comment section below. Smash like if you like this video, hit subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video, and my pretty face will show up in the recommended feed of yours. The Mandalorian is back, and it is such a good time to be a Star Wars fan, so don't miss out on any breakdown videos, leaks and rumor videos, or fun videos like this by smashing that subscribe button, and may the Force be with you, always.